Okay, this is interview 1 with Miss Sally Moore in her studio. Hello, Sally Moore.
Hello, Kate.
Right, it's lovely to have the opportunity to interview you like this. I have quite a few questions to ask you.
That's fine.
So, sorry if I yak your ear off. Your hometown is in Barry, South Wales. How connected do you still feel to your roots as an artist?
I've got strong links with Wales and Barry, but certainly I've found, as a painter, I've found the art world very supportive. And in fact, I'm showing with the Martin Tinney Gallery now for 20 years. I remember getting an Arts Council grant when I came out of college and had a studio in Cardiff. So I think they feel quite looked after by the artistic world of Wales, yeah.
That's excellent.
But then I'm from Barry and I have good close friends in Barry. My mother died 2 years ago, so I've lost the family home, but I go back because there are strong links. I don't speak Welsh, but
neither do I.
I do feel very, neither do you,
I can remember some, just Borodar.
I do feel a strong link with the place and need to go back there.
Brilliant. What inspires the subject matter within your paintings? They're very intriguing.
I'm glad I've had sort of a bit of practice to do this film. Gosh, you'll hear what in this documentary. But it's a need. I paint about things that bother me. And I think a lot of my sort of problems probably stem from having lost my dad at an early age, at the age of 13.
I lost mine at the age of 7. He died
Did
of
you?
prostate cancer. Yeah.
Good
yeah.
heavens. Because my father was a painter, whatever, anyway, it was a huge influence, but that's, terrible to lose a parent.
Yeah, definitely.
And I suffered a lot of anxiety, leading to sort of a phase of sort of depression around the end of my 30s. It was sort of building it for a long time. In the paintings, I wanted to record things that bother me, so I would paint about how uncomfortable I'd feel in relation to people or in situations, or being scared, like you talked about using the line and being symbolic for you. I painted a lot of pictures about running away from wild animals and hiding under tables and hiding behind doors, and it was all about my sort of fear of not fitting into the world and finding it all too much. So, but I'm a bit better now.
I can see you.
But it was a problem. But actually, it's resolved itself. So I did have some help. But I have felt extreme anxiety. Yeah, and that's where the ideas come from.
Brilliant. Thank you. How would you describe your style, and do you consider yourself a post-surrealist at all? Or are you adverse to that?
No, this funny thing of labelling. No, I don't think about that things, because you don't need to label yourself. You just think, what I do. That this film that's been made, somebody didn't say I was a domestic surrealist. So it's often the paintings are set in sort of ordinary-ish or home situations, or in a garden or in a landscape. But there's something a little strange going on. So maybe I am, I don't know. It's a funny thing, labeling oneself, let other people label you.
That's a good thing to do. I think you shouldn't put yourself into that kind of
true.
thing.
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah.
Never cage yourself.
No, it's true, because I like the idea that, I like it when there were so many fashions happening, the art was changing, and obviously when I was younger, I was influenced by, as you're younger, you're influenced by what's going on around you, and you feel you should be painting like these other people, or like so-and-so, because they're fashionable. And then as you get older, you think, well, no, just stick at your guns and find your way. And so you feel yourself as very much an individual doing what you do. But of course there are influences from way back, from, history of art.
I can see that. You're currently painting in your studio. There's lots going on, and there's a really nice creative buzz. Hello, fellow artist. What is
Jeff there?
There's Jeff over there painting away in the Sally Moore studio. What's your creative process like? How do you get from A to B?
Oh, right.
When you're creating an artwork.
I might have an idea. Or if I have a number of ideas, I make a record in a sketchbook, and it would be normally just a doodly, quick sketch. And often I write down and even point an arrow and say, this is supposed to be a horse or something. It might be very badly drawn, but you want to get the idea down as quickly as possible so you don't forget. The next stage, I might live with a few ideas for a bit, and then one might come to the surface of feeling more meaningful to me. But I do have help with photographs. I do have to use photography. So a friend of mine would help. Jeff's helped me in the past as well. So I must create a collage. I might get somebody to photograph me. I might use other people. Or I might be using it. There might be a still life or part of it, or landscape. And I'll go out and photograph a landscape, and you bring all these things together. And then I do make a line drawing. I do trace, and I've got to get the size of things right. So it's like a collage of line drawings, which I eventually get from the photograph. And then put that onto a primed MDF. So what I begin with is actually line drawing, and then I start working in the tones and the colours, and then it takes a really, really long time to finish.
I'm going to ask you a question about that a little bit later, about the duration of paintings. But first, when you were in art school, which artist inspired you then, and who inspires you now?
Right, well, like when I was, I remember I hated doing my thesis actually, it doesn't come naturally sort of doing the writing bit. But I remember early on when I was doing my degree, Matisse and Chagall, I did my thesis about them. And I think I liked Matisse. I was doing kind of quite sort of old still life things. I was dealing with colour, and I didn't quite know how to introduce the figure at that point. It just seemed too difficult to even consider drawing or painting a figure. It just seemed kind of impossible at that stage. And you're doing very well with it, I have to say.
He's trying.
So I like Matisse for the colour and the decoration and the pattern and the spirit of the painting, and I liked Chagall for the emotion and the sentiment and the sort of magical quality about them. And then now I'd say I've been influenced by, like for me, I like going back to the greats now.
Yeah, back to the masters.
Back to the masters, Caravaggio, and then I like, and then as we've talked about, surrealist women artists, I like, contemporary John Currin, there we go, painters who have a quality about the paint that's very skilled, but also a quirkiness and a strangeness. And then Remedios Varo, and I like it when, actually probably when I think about John Currin, he uses sort of different sort of characters. I like it when there's a sense of the personality that comes through, like Frida Kahlo, that they, in a sense, take things from their very real experiences. You really get to relate to them quite closely.
How do you come up with a profitable pricing structure for your paintings? Or does the gallery do that?
Well, actually, it's what is so lovely being with a gallery, talking money and all this sort of thing is kind of difficult. I saw things in the past, and you gauge it in relation to maybe how your fellow artists are doing. I was part of a studio setup when I first came down to London. I was given this free studio for 2 years, which was great. It was the first time I felt I was with other artists who were showing a bit in London and wherever. It's a tricky one if you're doing it on your own. I suppose a painting costs as much as somebody's prepared to pay for it.
Yeah.
But once I was with the gallery, then Martin Tinney deals with all that, and it's lovely that is out of my hands, and he does that, and I trust him. Yeah.
That's really, really good.
And it's all to do with demand, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's great because I haven't got a business head. Okay, I do my accounts, but he has. Nice to have that help.
That's really, really good, because whenever I'm doing any commissions, like for illustrations, I'm just like, how much? How much do I charge?
Yeah, it's tricky.
It is.
You have to ask people, and yeah.
Luckily, though, I live with an illustrator, so
yeah, good. You have to. You can't do it on your own. You can't. You haven't a clue how to gauge things. You can't.
Definitely. Tell me a little bit about what it is like to have a career in fine art, and how do you get to the place that you are now?
Right. The difficult thing about being a fine artist is that you can get so damn lonely, which I'm not these days, thank God. But what's my journey been like, actually, as you talk about what happens after college? I did my BA at the Ruskin School of Fine Art in Oxford. Wasn't very happy there. Came out feeling rather confused. Then I moved back to live with my mum for 2 years, applying for MAs. Thought I'd be living there for the rest of my life, that sort of thing. But I was still painting. I was painting. So I was applying for
Good.
MAs. You see, and I got 2 interviews at the Royal College, didn't get in. I was really lacking in confidence. I couldn't speak, fluently about what I was trying to do. Chris got into the Royal College, actually.
Brilliant.
So I didn't know, not particularly confident about what I was doing. I knew I had a need to paint and wanted to keep going. I eventually got an MA in Birmingham for a year. So in those days you got grants, which was fantastic. Did get full grants all the way, which people did in those days. So that's lucky.
You do for a degree nowadays, but not for masters, unfortunately. So
Right.
all self-funded, but worth it.
Worth it. Good for you.
Worth it.
So I that year in Birmingham doing my MA, that was good. I was really struggling with how I wanted, which direction I wanted my paintings to go, in a more sort of organic way. I remember talking about Bonon, like his, or do I want more structured sort of thing? So I tackled some major things. And because I had a cheap studio, I stayed on for another year. And then I was good thinking about doing a teacher training, because you thought, well, what happens next? Of course, you have to earn a living. But then I applied so I stayed in Birmingham. So I was in Birmingham for 2 years. Cheap to live there. And something came up in Artist Newsletter, I think, for a free studio it's called the Delphina Studios Trust. This probably was 87. I applied for it because I wanted to get to London. I didn't know how to do it. It seemed all too scary and expensive, But amazingly, I got a place. That really helped me. So I moved down to London, and Delphine actually found me a place to lodge. So I had a free studio in Stratford. It was Stratford as it was then, which was really quite run down. And I got to know some people my age who had been to the London colleges and were beginning to show their work, and it really helped me.
Brilliant.
But I would say the drawback, for the last 10 years, I've been showing with Jeff for 10 years, there have been times when you can spend days and days on your own. That's the difficult thing. I love sharing and we get on very, very well. So I wouldn't want to be, I would find it, if I was here every day on my own, I don't think that's good for anyone. But
No.
there's a lot of that has to be, you have to take that on board if you're an artist, that you have to spend a lot of time on your own.
If you had not followed the path of being an artist, where do you think you'd be today?
Oh, that's an interesting question, isn't it? I don't know. What did I don't know. If I hadn't been able to, still find it amazing that I've managed to survive and sell work and kept going. I know it's harder for young people these days because I had a little patch where I signed on and had housing benefit, which you couldn't do these days. I think I assumed that I would have been a teacher, just being realistic about earning money. Yeah, probably.
Currently, I'm an art teacher myself, so I can kind of relate to it as well. So I've got that 2 days a week, and then the rest.
Oh, is that the case?
Art. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that if realistically, if I wasn't able to sell, my father was an art teacher and painter. That's probably what I would have done. Not that I would have wanted to do it.
No.
I'm pleased I haven't had to do it.
Yeah. Artist is a priority. What advice would you give to emerging artists starting out, applying to galleries, and from your own experiences, what do you think is the best way to do this?
This day and age, I'd say the best thing is to get your work seen as much as possible. And I think I've learnt that. Any opportunity to show, because I still had links, even though I was moved away from Wales, I still would show with a Welsh group. I'd enter competitions. And I met Martin Tinney because I entered a competition at St David's Hall. I can't remember the name of the competition. I won 3rd prize.
Wow.
And then he approached me there, you see. So I think if the work's out there, I'm not quite sure how much, if you send slides to galleries, I'm not sure how successful that is. I think galleries either want to see your work somewhere being shown, or somebody recommends your work to the gallery. I'm not quite sure. It happens in all sorts of ways. But it's different for everyone, and I think is there a lot of luck in it? No, you have to keep going, you do your work and get it seen as much as possible.
Your paintings have always contained narrations with you placed within the painted scenarios. Could you explain the signature to your unique work?
All right, read me that again.
Your paintings have always contained narrations with you placed within the painted scenarios. Could you explain the signature to your unique artwork? So why do you always put yourself in your paintings?
Well, I suppose because I need people. Things I appear lots of times, and sometimes I might wear a wig so I look different. Because they're autobiographical, but I don't want them to be too personal.
Yeah.
So they come from your own sort of feelings, and I think I want to find universal themes, so I want to feel removed from them. I don't want people to look at them and think, oh, this is about Sally's life. I want them to identify with them, so I want to have universal themes. And I use myself out of convenience as well, because who else would I use? Maybe as I get a bit older, I might start using other people. I will be introducing some more people into them actually, but that's through confidence of dealing with other people. But first of all, I just would want to have a sort of self-sufficient, get a friend, or my mum I remember would help me with photography, and then I didn't really want to involve anyone else. But I try and be different. I take on different personalities, and over the last few years, I think more different types of characters, whereas in the past it would mainly really be to do with me.
To me, it's like many, many different parts of almost like an ego.
It could be that.
Yeah.
Different sides to personality, yeah.
Definitely, because of course not everyone is one-dimensional.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Your paintings are painstakingly rendered. Minute details must take absolutely hours. How long does an average painting take to reach fruition stage?
They're taking longer, because I think I used to paint a bit more broadly in the past, and I realised that I think I'd enjoy the detail. I remember going through a phase when I felt I shouldn't be enjoying detail, that you should paint more freely. A lot of this sort of should stuff that goes on in the head with painting. But I'm going with it because it seems right. Maybe they take longer because of that. But also I think the paintings become more sophisticated because they're a lot to do with atmosphere and organising light and colour. So there's a lot of altering and nuances of adjusting that goes on. Yeah, they take a long time. And drawing is difficult. I mean, I make loads of mistakes. And I might put a figure in and I feel it's not necessary and I might have to take it out. Months to 2 months, it's difficult to say. I might have a lot on the go at the same time. But they're taking longer.
I've been visiting Martin Tinney Gallery where a collection of your work is shown. When I've been up close to your works, I've always questioned the technique with which you paint onto the smooth wood panels. Would you mind showing me your working process?
All right, what should I show you? As I say, I prime the MDF so it's as smooth as possible. Then I will start with a line drawing. So it is a matter of sort of building up. There's one that I've just started. This has kind of gone quite a long way, but it's constantly readjusting. Because with this one, I was really wanting to get the sense of structure. I began by filling in the colour as broadly as you can do and thinking, well, this could be flesh tones, whatever. And then just altering and adjusting. I'm wanting this floor area to be darker here, so that sense of the dark, that's going to be lost in darkness. And then also making sure that the light areas are really light. I'm enjoying those sort of contrasts of light and dark. But it is constant adjusting and rethinking.
The skin tones are absolutely wonderful.
And then I'm having sort of problems with this curtain at the moment because I think it needs more. It's not quite working with the rest of it. So it is constant adjusting and just. Do you have an idea in your head of what you want it to look like, or you don't know what it's going to look like? Do you know what you want to achieve, so you keep going until you achieve it?
Do you tend to work in many layers, or do you just tend to kind of just allow it to grow?
Layers. Each area has lots of layers, and using glazing and opaque paint, and And I want the surface, I suppose, to be quite smooth, so I'll sand areas back if they're a bit rough or you get bits of paint in. And then the final result, I'd put a layer of varnish on, use liquid. So I want them to look luscious, so they have a sort of luscious feel, because I like oil paint, and I like having a sort of slight sheen on them.
Yeah, because I find when I view all your paintings, they all seem so smooth, and then whenever I try painting, there's always little tiny bits which just stick out from the canvas, and that tends to annoy me.
Well, I used to do that in the past and thought that if that's part of the process, they should be there. That's what I thought. Now I would sand things down because I want more of a pristine finish. So they didn't. I used to work on canvas, but I kind of got not to like the grain, and there was a bit of a dryness to the feel of the painting.
It almost pixelates for the paint at times, especially if you're working on a small area, I find on canvas, whereas I'm just about to use board myself, so I'm just going to start experimenting really with a flat surface and see how that kind of
That's
takes
what
on the
I've
paint.
come to, wanting to have the really flat, because it's better. And maybe with yours, if you're so interested in line and edges of things. Because I love painters like the early Renaissance icons and medieval things as well, and the Flemish artists. That's not that I want to be as detailed, but certainly they've been influenced. I mean, they're Jew-like, aren't they? They are.
You had a recent show in the Martin Tinney gallery with a series of paintings called You Can Never Tell. Can you tell me the story behind these paintings?
As I was saying, they're sort of quite autobiographical in a way, so it was the first exhibition I'd had since my since my mum died. So a number of the paintings were dealing with grief and themes of confusion and feeling lost and that, but not dealing with it in hopefully a playful way, but those needing to document that sort of sadness. And then, yes, what's the question again? Because I was just trying to think about the other paintings.
You had a recent show in the Martin Tinney gallery with a series of paintings called You Can Never Tell. Can you tell me the story behind these paintings?
Oh, right, I should probably touch on... Gosh, there are lots of stories, aren't there? There's one in the boat. There's still themes that link back from way back that I'm using over and again, but maybe the difference in approach in that show was that I've been looking more outward in relation to doing paintings about other characters, not just from myself. So I think that's, and this is actually, you'll hear this in the film, that was the main difference, I think, in this exhibition, that I've been sort of looking at that character types and how people behave, not just thinking about myself. Lots of elements of me and feeling isolated or trapped or blah, blah, elements of that, but hopefully treated in quite a playful way. So I've been more outward looking. I just think it's probably very good in about damn time.
Definitely. Sally, you've won an impressive number of awards, including the National Eisteddfod, the 1996 Discerning Eye Exhibition.
I didn't win the National Eisteddfod. I won, I think I had a second prize.
Second prize.
I didn't win the gold medal, that would have been nice. But I didn't. But I did come second.
Second's still awesome. The 1996 Discerning Eye Exhibition in London, and the 2005 Welsh Artist of the Year Award. In receiving these awards, how much outside attention did you receive for your art as a result?
I think it's all part of the process. It does you a hell of a lot of good, without a doubt. It's like a big pat on the back, and you feel, right, maybe some sort of, it's all right, so there's a response. I don't think, maybe a number of people have approached the gallery. You see, I'm not quite sure. I like that Martin Tinney deals with that side of it. So if somebody's interested in seeing more paintings, they will approach him. And I like it that way. So, but it certainly does, it's good. It's a nice pat on the back.
It's excellent. Do you think in the art world it's about who you know or how many doors you're willing to knock?
No, just knock on doors, quite frankly. And I don't think that's what I felt. It's not this whole networking thing that people talk about. Stick at what you do. If you can believe in yourself and not get too swayed. If you've got some good friends or people whose judgment you respect, that you can ask them and they're going to be honest with you. I find Martin Tinney very honest with me. That if he thinks the work is not as good as, he'll tell me, and I think that's good, because you can have bad patches where you lose something in the work. But as I was saying, get it out there as much as get it seen, and apply for things as much as possible. And the world's not going to come to you. That's the thing. You can be in your little white box painting away, and nothing's going to happen if you don't get out there and get it seen.
It's ironic, really, because as an artist you spend time on your own, and then whereas galleries, they're outside that studio, they're outside that front door.
And you have to be brave, and I thought I've always, any opportunity to show, I have shown in libraries wherever in Wales. And you have to be brave to do that, because it's dangerous spending too much time on your own. You can question yourself too much. But if a gallery wants to show your work, or you have an opportunity, or it gets accepted in a competition, it does you good, builds up your confidence, and that you think, yes, maybe what I'm doing is okay.
Brilliant. Right, I think we're drawing to a close on the honest interview. Sally, did you have any extra words?
Oh, nice to meet you, Kate. You asked some really good questions.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you too. Thank you, Sally. So here I am in Sally Moore's studio, currently looking at her recent paintings and artworks. They're absolutely fantastic, and if you home in on detail, they have this glossy finish. Look at that, it's fantastic. This is currently a work in progress, and here's the artist herself, Miss Sally Moore. Apparently she's recently cleaned up. Thank you very, very much for allowing me to interview you. Very much appreciated.
Oh, you're welcome, Kate.
Thank you.